backpack opens from the front because the zipper gave out. It's not the worst moment imaginable, but it's far from ideal. You're on the bus, there's still 20 minutes of travel ahead, and inside there are things you'd rather not lose. You don't have a needle, you don't have thread, you don't have another bag. You have what you have. Your pockets, whatever you're carrying on you, and what's within reach. That's where the question worth asking actually begins. What can you do with what's available? Improvising is not the same as acting without thinking. That mix-up is more common than it seems, and it's costly. When something fails, and the first reaction is to grab whatever's nearby and use it however possible, the result is often worse than the original problem. Good improvising starts with a brief pause. Not a moment of paralysis, but of observation. Look at the problem, understand what broke down, and clearly define what function needs to be solved. Not just, I need to fix this, but something more specific. I need this to stay in place. I need this to stay dry. I need someone to know where I am. That precision is the difference between a workable solution and a waste of time. The basic functions that cover most urban improvisation are actually few. Fasten, cover, insulate, carry, signal, illuminate, temporarily repair, communicate, organize, and conserve resources. Once you learn to think in those terms, the everyday objects most of us carry start looking different. Not for what they are by definition, but for what they can do depending on the situation. Take the plastic bag. Its obvious function is to hold things. But if what you need is to protect something from the rain, a bag can wrap a document, a tablet, or a book in seconds. If wet clothes ended up at the bottom of your backpack, a bag separates the damp from the dry and keeps everything else from getting soaked. If you need to carry something that's leaking, a bag contains the liquid. If you need to cover something temporarily to keep out dust or dirt, a bag works. Same bag, 4 different functions depending on the problem. It's not magic, it's observing the shape and thinking about what it allows you to do. An empty plastic bottle stays useful long after it's been drained. It can carry water when there's no other option. It can serve for basic wound rinsing if clean water is available. It can act as a weight to hold a piece of paper down when the wind picks up. It can work as a visual marker at a meeting point if you put something contrasting inside. In situations involving disorientation or extended waiting, having a bottle of water is also a way of managing your own time and energy. Shoelaces, old cables, earphones that no longer work, strips of fabric, or elastic bands all share one clear function. They fasten and bundle. That can solve the broken zipper situation from the start. It can keep a folded piece of paper in a pocket without losing it. It can group cables so they stop getting in the way. It can tie down something that's come loose. The important limit here is not using these improvised fixes to carry real weight or in situations where the connection is critical for safety. An old earbud can hold a light paper bag, not a load weighing several kilos. That question of what this can actually hold is part of the thinking that defines responsible improvisation. Tape deserves its own place on this list because its range of use is wide. It can temporarily fix a sole that's starting to peel off, seal a bag that lost its closure, reinforce an edge that's tearing, mark a spot on a surface so someone can find it, or hold a note to a door or wall. None of these fixes are permanent, and that's exactly the point. The function is to buy time, contain the problem, and get to a real solution in better shape. The small things we tend to overlook, like binder clips, safety pins, rubber bands, and small fasteners of all kinds, are ideal for managing minor chaos and keeping things organized. Taming tangled cables, closing a bag without a zipper, bookmarking pages, keeping documents together. preventing something small from disappearing into the bottom of a crowded bag. These are low-stakes solutions, but applied at the right moment, they prevent bigger mistakes. Losing an important document because it was loose in a disorganized backpack isn't a serious problem on its own, but it very much is when you need it and it's gone. An old card, one you no longer use, has firm edges that let you scrape, push, separate, or mark surfaces without risking your fingers. It can lift something stuck to a smooth surface, work as a straight edge when folding paper, or separate two things that got stuck together. It's such a small object that almost no one thinks of it as a tool, but its rigidity and size make it useful in situations where you'd rather not use your fingers directly. A handkerchief, an old t-shirt, or a scarf can cover, protect from the sun, wrap a fragile object, or clean a surface. And if there's a minor injury, a clean piece of fabric can apply pressure to a small wound until proper care is available. This is worth saying clearly. Fabric improvisation does not replace proper treatment, does not replace a doctor, and is not a final solution. It's a containment measure until you can get to where the problem can be properly addressed. That distinction between containing and resolving is central to all responsible improvisation. Paper and a pen are tools that remain more useful than they seem in a world full of phones. A written note left in the right place communicates information without depending on signal, battery life, or apps. If you need to leave an address, record a license plate number, write down a symptom you need to remember, or hold on to a piece of information you can't afford to lose, paper is reliable in ways that devices sometimes aren't. And in situations where you need to coordinate with someone without direct communication, a clear note can prevent real misunderstandings. The keys almost everyone carries can make noise to draw attention in a place where shouting isn't effective or isn't possible. That jingling or clinking works as an audible signal in enclosed spaces, or in situations where you need someone to come closer. Keys can also mark a surface in a visible way. What they should not be framed as is a self-defense tool or a solution in genuinely dangerous situations. That falls well outside the logic and the judgment that guide good improvisation. The phone deserves special attention because it concentrates so many functions at once. Flashlight, map, camera, alarm, notepad, calculator, clock, and communication device. The problem is that all of that drains the battery, and battery life is the most finite resource in an unexpected situation. The practical rule is to decide which function you need most in that moment, and protect it. If you need to get somewhere, navigation takes priority. If the power goes out, the flashlight takes priority. Using the phone for everything at once during a critical moment is one of the fastest ways to end up with no tools at all. There's something else worth saying about limits. Not every object works for every situation. An improvisation involving electricity, fire, load-bearing structures, accessing spaces that don't belong to you, or materials that could cause harm isn't a creative solution. It's an unnecessary risk. Part of what defines good improvisation is knowing when not to do something. When the available option could hurt someone, make the problem worse, or compromise your own safety or someone else's, the right decision is to leave it alone and find another way out. Asking for help, waiting, moving toward a safer place, or simply not intervening are all valid responses. Urban improvisation isn't designed to solve everything. It's designed to buy time, bring order to the problem, contain what can be contained, and get to a real solution in better conditions. A tape repair won't last forever, but it might last long enough to get home. A note on paper doesn't replace a direct conversation, but it can replace it when there's no other option. That margin, that time earned, that order restored in the middle of disorder, is the real value of knowing how to improvise. In the end, what changes most isn't the number of objects you carry. It's the way you look at them. An object's value isn't just what it is. It's what it can do when it's needed. When something breaks, falls, gets soaked, or stops working, the question isn't what tool is missing. It's what function is needed and what's available to address it. That shift in perspective is, in practice, the most useful skill you can develop. It doesn't require special equipment, prior experience, or a problem of any particular size. It just requires stopping for a moment, observing carefully, and using what's there with good judgment. That's enough to come out ahead in more situations than most people expect.